Da, 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 da.
The broadcast is live.
It is. It is. I'm assuming you didn't look at that thing I sent you.
I did, and way to send it 5 minutes before airtime.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I had all the time in the world.
Just saying.
Jeez. What did you do exactly?
And the funny thing is, I didn't even get it from you. I just kind of caught it in passing. Like, oh, well, he plans on talking about that tonight. Check it out.
I told you we were starting with that.
I gotta look at my notes now. I actually have notes.
So, we are live, right? Let me just make sure that
we are live.
We're gathering people because I'm not showing comments.
Nobody wants to talk to us.
Guess not. Oh yeah, we're live. Okay, so I will briefly run down the rules, and I have a feeling I'm gonna have to repeat myself like 100 times after this.
You're just gonna get right into this. You're gonna explain what we're talking about.
No, I'm explaining to you.
Okay, go ahead.
So a typical March Madness bracket is done by rankings, like 1 seed, 16 seed. You know the whole get up. Mm-hmm. I did not have enough time nor patience to break it down that way. So we just have a bracket filled with every attraction inside Disney, and we were short by 10 things, even with all the attractions.
Yeah, you started tossing hotels in there.
I had to. I didn't know what else to throw in there. So I threw in a couple rides of transportation and hotels. Because we didn't have enough rides. I didn't know how you wanted to do it.
Main Street vehicles aren't on there.
What?
Main Street? You never been on a Main Street vehicle before?
I think a majority of the listeners haven't been on the Main Street vehicle.
Boy, you are such a noob.
We are not all you get the special treatment when we're down there.
That's true.
I don't get the Rudy VIP.
Extra special treatment.
Yeah, that good stuff.
Did I? Yeah. I didn't even see Haunted Mansion on here.
It's on there. Haunted Mansion should be the right side, south bracket.
I don't even have a south bracket.
Yes, you do.
I have an east and a west.
You didn't look at the other side of the bracket, you dum-dum?
Oh, for the love of God,
There's a south and a Midwest. Well, it really should have been north. I don't know why it popped up as Midwest. It really should be north. I'll change that later.
All I have is east and west.
All right, well, you might want to reopen. Or I'll just tell you and you tell me what you want.
You might want to just tell me because it's going to be a disaster.
So then basically what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you who goes up against who. If we both agree, then that ride or whatever it is advances. If we do not agree, I will write it down. And for everyone we don't agree, it will be put into left up to the listeners. So by next week, we'll do enough polls if we need to, where the listeners decide who, advances. When it comes,
it's gonna be a long show.
Well, we're not doing the entire bracket. We're only doing round one.
That could be a long show.
It might be. Just don't chibber jabber. You Gaglione, just talk. Now, when it comes to the final, if we both agree, great. If we don't agree and it goes to a poll, which I have a feeling me and you are never going to agree on any of this, so this could be really long. You might be right. We're going to let the listeners pick it again, and we will give away some things for the people who voted. Whoever's on the right side of it. Stickers, things along like that. Now, I do know we have some things to give away. We'll save that for the end of the show since we're already going into this.
All right. We're going to give that away tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, because we're going to give people that don't get a chance to go live and they have to watch it on replay a chance.
Okay. Let me just do this and press this button. Okay. Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for tuning into another episode of Behind the Ears Podcast. I am Uncle Danny, the man on the other side of the screen. We know him as so many names. Cousin Rudy, Claire, or, the dingus, whatever he wants to be called for the day. We go live every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we release our show immediately after. So for all you podcast listeners, it's almost like listening to it live without actually being here. You can catch us on all our social media platforms. Rudy runs a fantastic group called Crazy for Disney, and I also run the WDW Community Facebook page. You can also, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to email us at behindtheearspodcast@gmail.com. And with that being said, enjoy the show. What up, Rudy?
How's it going?
I'm ready to kick your butt in this.
No, let's take a look.
All right, let's take a look. So what we are doing today is our 2020 March Madness. And like I was explaining to Rudy in the beginning, if you're just joining us, here are the rules. Normally a March Madness bracket is done by rankings, 1 seed versus 16 seed. Unfortunately, I did not have the time to really dive into what I believed was a 16 seed versus a 1 seed. So I tried to mix it up as best as I can. Now, this is a 64 seed tournament that includes all things Disney. And I say it that way because we ran out of rides before the bracket was over.
I think you have like bathrooms included in here.
I do not have bathrooms included. I contemplated it. We have a couple hotels and we have the modes of transportation. With that being said, the way we'll do it is me and Rudy will basically banter back and forth about which one we believe is better. Obviously, if we agree, that item moves on. If we disagree, I will write it down. And then from there, we will put it up as a poll in both the WDW and the Crazy for Disney page. And by next week, we will have winners, and so on and so forth through every round until we get to the championship round, which should be a couple weeks from now. And then we will go head to head. And if we disagree and it goes to a poll, we will give away some stickers to whoever picked the winning side. Anytime during the show, please feel free to comment. We'll pop your comments up there. If you think that one of us is crazy for picking the other item, or if we're both wrong, whatever you decide. So with that, and lastly, you can if you want to look at the bracket, it is on the WDW and the Crazy for Disney page. It comes up as a Word document, so you have to open it that way. I know some people are like, oh, I don't really want to open it. You don't have to. You can visually just listen to us. I might even pop it up here and there on the screen for our visual viewers. But if you're just at home listening to this or in your office and your boss isn't around, you want to take a look at what we're looking at, you can find it there. So with that being said, let the madness begin. All right. So we will start in the lovely East Division.
Oh, nice. I have that.
Okay. That's why I'm going to do the East and West first since you have that. All right. So first up, we have Astro Orbiter versus Test Track.
That Test Track.
Yeah.
You can't go the other way.
There's going to be a couple of these where you're like, Danny, that's unfair. Well, unfortunately, there has to be a winner and there has to be a loser. And there's really not going to be much to talk about this because I agree with Rudy. I believe the Test Track is a hands down winner.
Does that hurt you to actually have to agree with me?
A little bit, yeah. And I have the screen blocked out, so all I see in the corner of my screen is your Darth Vader staring at me.
Always nice to look at.
Always. All right. So I'm sure that the comments will go strictly on, as we see here, Test Track without a doubt, no question. Unfortunately, Astro Orbiter is on its way home early. Next up,
have you been on that before?
What?
Astro Orbiter?
Not since I was a kid. I refuse to go on. Yeah, it's terrifying. I'm so afraid that plane's gonna fly right off.
Well, it wasn't that we went on. It was myself, my wife, and my daughter. So 3 of us stuffed in there, and the entire time it felt like we're gonna fall out.
And you got to take the elevator up there, right?
Yeah, I don't mind the height though. It's just the feeling of falling out is not good.
When I was a kid, now granted it's still pretty high, but when I was a kid, I remember going out that elevator and I felt like I was on a skyscraper. I was like, oh God, I'm way too high in the air. This is crazy. All right. So let's move on to the next one. And I think is going to be a closer one, I would say, but I have a feeling I think I know where you're going to go. We have Alien Swirling Saucers versus Thunder Mountain.
Yes, Thunder Mountain.
Really? Hands down, that quick, huh?
Yeah, we've talked about this before. That Alien Saucer spin was a big disappointment.
I thought maybe, you have you don't have that young of a child. Thought maybe,
Even my daughter doesn't like that ride.
It's, I like the decor, but I'm one of those people. I am not a fan of Thunder Mountain at all. But it pains me to say that I think Thunder Mountain is going to have to also get this because, it's hard to go against a roller coaster, especially with a smaller ride like that. So it seems that overwhelming once again. Me and Rudy agree, and so do you guys. There might be a full moon now coming. All right, next up, you know what? I need to close one of these windows because this is a pain. Okay. Next up, we have. This is interesting. Muppets 3D versus Country Bear Jamboree.
Um, Boy, nostalgia-wise, I was kind of leaning towards Country Bear, but I do enjoy going to Muppet 3D more.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's also a place where I go when I need a little air conditioning as well. But Country
Ooh.
Bear, we've done that a couple times this year. It's a little bit played out for me.
I think we're gonna have our first disagreement. I'm gonna go Country Bear Jamboree because it's just going down memory lane and you hear all their eyes clicking and the heads don't move properly, and most of the time only one eye is open.
Like me.
And wait, there is air conditioning in Country Bear Jamboree.
That's true.
The seats aren't comfortable, but there's definitely air conditioning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have our first one that's going to be going to a poll. We're obviously not going to do the poll, right now, but just going by, we'll go through some of, Rob brings up a good point. Thunder Mountain versus Test Track is going to be a good round too.
Yeah, that'll be tough.
That'll be real tough. It came out hot. We had back-to-back comments saying Muppets, 3 in a row, and then all of a sudden, Country Jamboree
Making a big comeback.
making a solid comeback. I think it's going to be hard. A lot of people are admitting that this is a tough one. Obviously, I did not put Mickey's Runaway Rail on the ride on the list because it's just unfair. We've never ridden it, and I didn't put any future rides like Ratatouille or Test or Tron, just so everybody understands.
I will say one thing about Muppet 3D. The last trip we took with the Disney Bros, we sat through 4 straight showings of it just to stay out of the heat. Just like laid there and napped, and when they released everybody, we just stayed there.
Yeah, I will admit, I love the queue. I think the queue is one of the better queues inside of Disney, and I think it's one of the best queues, not counting Star Wars because I don't really appreciate it to the level of you might, but I think Muppets, that and Tower of Terror might have the best queues inside of Hollywood Studios, better than Rock and Roller Coaster in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So that one will be our first one. We'll revisit that later and we'll tell you how it is. This one, unfortunately, I think is a landslide. Rock and Roller Coaster versus the Hall of Presidents.
Yeah, you got to go Rock and Roller Coaster. But we did do Hall of Presidents last year for the first time in years, and give it a try. I know there's like a little bit of controversy of who you like, who you don't like, but the show itself is still pretty impressive.
This was a tough one because I am a fan of Hall of Presidents. I thought maybe it can get to the second round, possibly the third round if it had a favorable matchup going up against each other. But it's just Rock and Roller Coaster being a thrill ride, the nostalgia of Rock and Roller Coaster, the pre-show of Rock and Roller Coaster. It's just as much as I love U.S. history and I love Hall of Presidents, and I don't care who the president was. I love going to it every time. Rock and Roller Coaster is going to win that. And I mean, judging by the comments,
it's a landslide.
It's a landslide. I'm sorry. I'm not even going to bother putting all your comments up because this is not fair. All right. Next up, which I think will be very controversial, Slinky Dog versus Small World.
I don't know how that could be even a little bit controversial. Slinky Dog. Nobody's going on Small World.
Okay. Well, some people have the nostalgia factor for Small World. I thought Small World could have been a Final Four. I really did. They didn't get a favorable matchup going against a roller coaster, but it's a kid roller coaster.
That's a frightening ride, little Small World.
But so is Rock and Roller Coaster got some turns that scare the crap out of me. But Small World is scary. It really
is.
I mean, think about it. Would you rather be stuck on Slinky or Small World? I mean, listen, they don't shut that animatronics off. They don't shut that ride down at night. The water stops flowing and the cars stop going through. It's a Small World, but the music does not stop. So I want you all to think about how creepy that is. All right. So it looks like Slinky Dog. We got a couple for Small World over Slinky. So I thought it'd be a little closer than what it was, but it wasn't. This one I think is also going to be another landslide. Toy Story Mania versus the Liberty Riverboat.
Yeah, you got to go Toy Story Mania.
Mm-hmm. Mania. I mean, I'm not a fan of the fact they messed with the queue a little bit, and you don't really see Mr. Potato Head anymore. But I like the fact they added that third track. It's such a smooth ride. I think some of the guns over time are gonna need some recalibration. I feel like I miss a lot, and when I shouldn't be missing a lot. But yeah, I love Toy Story Mania.
That's a good ride to tell whether or not you're out of shape because
Oh,
The last
God,
time I was there, I was exhausted by the time I
yeah.
got off that thing.
I get off that ride. Lindsay's laughing because she beat me. I'm sweating. I
Yeah,
need
it's
a water.
pathetic.
I'm like, oh God, this is not good. Someone get a doctor. Okay. Once again, unfortunately, going to be another landslide here. Flight of Passage versus the Aladdin Magic Carpets.
Yeah, I mean, why even bother answering that? It's gotta.
Yeah, Flight of Passage, which I still believe is the most immersive ride inside of Disney. I feel bad because you just Aladdin, you're just a spinner attraction. I don't think any spinner attraction is making it out of the first round.
I actually said during the last show, Flights of Passage is one of the few rides. No matter how many times I've been on it, I still get that little kid grin on.
Oh yeah,
Like, it's just that good.
yeah. It is literally so smooth. And like I said, we were talking about how on Soarin' you can look left and right. You really and see every people. You really have to struggle to find other people outside of your row on that ride. It is immersive. I think they really did a bad job with the ride vehicles, not limiting the people who can go on it. And that queue is gorgeous, but oh man, is it long.
It's a long one for sure. That's like the one ride I wish I still had hair on.
Oh, just to
feel
feel
that
the
air
wind.
just going through my hair.
Oh, it's wonderful. All right. So this comment I knew was going to happen. Who picked the competitors? So what I did was I just opened up my list of all Disney attractions and I just tried to scatter them the best as I could. They were not, unfortunately, anywhere ranked against each other, which I think it makes more interesting. Because my ranking is going to be different than Rudy's rankings. Like, my number one is not Rudy's number one. So this is the fairest way to do it. All right. So we have Flight of Passage. This one's interesting. Expedition Everest versus Peter Pan's Flight.
Oh boy. I didn't mark that one down because my printer kind of screwed up a little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to go to Peter Pan just because it is nostalgic. It's still pretty legit. Like, it still looks kind of cool for nowadays. And Expedition Everest just scrambles my brain in the worst way. It's a cool ride, but boy, it kills me.
All right. Well, I am going to have to disagree because I believe Expedition Everest is the best roller coaster inside of Disney. I think it has one of the nicest outside queues possible. I don't believe there is a bad seat outside of the front row. It gives you major drops forward, backwards, in the dark, outside, in the building, sharp curves, twists, everything but a flip. So yeah, I'm going to go with Expedition Everest. You went with Peter Pan, and it does look like I am going to lose in a landslide by that when I put this out there. So, which I'm shocked on because when I made this list, I truly believe that Expedition Everest was a Final Four ride.
I think if it was against a lot of other rides, it would have been, but Peter Pan is Peter Pan.
Yeah, it's just the nostalgia of it. I get it. I'm not a biggest Peter Pan fan ride. So I have a feeling that I'm going to lose that one. But for right now, it's going to be in our side pocket, and that's going to go to the outside pole.
Now, is that one of those rides that stress you while you're on it because you're afraid it's going to break down?
Which one?
Peter Pan.
No, I don't care about breaking down in Peter Pan. I care about breaking down in Expedition Everest, though, because they push that bar down.
Yeah, we've been at the very top, like where they kind of make you go backwards at the end, just before that little drop.
You're sitting there and you think it's stuck, yeah.
Yeah, and I start sweating and panicking.
Oh God, I'm looking at the hair ties. I'm like, please get my mind off of this. Please get my mind off of this. It's not stuck. It's not stuck. Oh man. Okay, so that will conclude the East Division. So currently, right now, coming out of the East.
Wait a minute.
What?
You got another one on there?
No, I don't.
I see Dobby River on here.
That's for the West Division.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you're terrible.
My printer's the worst.
You blame the printer. So right now, not bad. Coming out of the East, we have Test Track facing off against Thunder Mountain in the second round. We're gonna have a poll question over Muppets versus Country Jamboree, but let's be honest, it doesn't matter because it's going up against Rock and Roller Coaster. The next round is going to be very interesting. We have Slinky versus Toy Story Mania. And then lastly, we're going to have Flight of Passage going against the winner of a poll between Expedition Everest and Peter Pan, which I don't think either one of them are going to beat Flight of Passage, but we will see. Oh, man. Yeah, we do have matching red hats. We are literally wearing the same exact hat. Moving into the West Division.
I wear it better.
I don't think so. You just need to wear it. I don't.
I
All
do.
right. Next one up, we've got Cali River Rapids going against Prince Charming's Regal Carousel.
The Rapids.
Okay, so I had a problem with this because I like the Rapids, but going just like what you went with Peter Pan, I kind of had the nostalgia of the Regal Carousel, but I eventually ended up deciding to go with the Rapids along with you, solely on the fact of you can go on a carousel anywhere.
Yeah, and I'm trying to do it as far as like what I will go out of my way to go on. Like if I've got 5 minutes left in the park, I have one ride to jump on. It's those two.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going on Cali.
And it's true. It's true because it's more of a thrill ride. It's something better to do than just going on, a carousel, which we've all been on a million times. All right, so even though it hurts me to say it, Cali is going to advance in that position, which I really don't think when we pick their next person they're going against is really going to make a big difference. But we have coming up. Why did it go there? I didn't want it there. I want it here. Oh boy. Okay, I'm just gonna mess it up and put it there. All right, next up, which I really don't think this should be any fight here, but Navi River versus Space Mountain.
See, it kind of stinks because the way I had it printed out, it was Space Mountain versus Kilimanjaro Safaris. But
no.
Yeah, if I got to pick between those two, I definitely have to lean towards Space Mountain. But Navi River, come on, it
I
could have
can't
been a
even
lot
count it as a
better.
ride.
It's still not bad though. Give it a little love.
What, Navi?
Yeah, don't just dismiss it. It's not that bad of a ride. It's cool to look at.
No, I've dismissed it completely. I don't even go on it anymore.
Trying to give it a little love.
Come on. I mean, there's no reason to. Once again, you're going to go back to your Cali River Rapids argument. There's 5 minutes left in a park. You're telling me you're going to go sit in the boat ride over going on a thrill ride before you leave the park?
Boy, it depends. There's times I will go on that little wimpy ride.
If you're tired, yeah, it's different. But I mean, or if it's about waiting in line. But I mean, Space Mountain has won tremendously in the comment section. There's only like 3 people I've seen so far, and Cindy chose Navi because she doesn't like roller coasters.
And Lindsay's right. It is pretty. What's wrong with pretty?
I mean, I'm pretty.
Look at me. You're not pretty. Trust me.
Mary, I agree. Navi is lame. Lame. All right.
So say something about Space Mountain though before we get to the next one.
Absolutely.
During the Christmas party, when they had those lights flashing and they're playing like Trans-Siberian Orchestra, that takes Space Mountain up another like 4 or 5 levels. That's pretty amazing.
I've never been on it during that time.
Yeah, during Halloween, they turn off all the lights, like everything, and I can't remember what they were playing, and that's the worst because you can't like tell when you're turning at all, and a big fat dummy like me is getting tossed around like a rag doll. But like during Christmas, they had like a strobe light going with all different holiday lights, so you can see the track a little bit, so you know when you're turning.
Okay.
And then they pipe in that music. It's so much better during Christmas, my opinion.
Okay. I'm looking forward to the honeymoon to really try it in that aspect. That sounds a very cool. Different experience. Yeah, absolutely. Kilimanjaro Safaris up against the Speedway.
I mean, I got to go with. I don't go on either one of these that often.
Okay.
I'm going to go to the Safari because it is kind of cool when you go on it. There's a lot to look at. That Speedway smells so bad.
Oh God! Half the steering wheels, it looks like Six Flags. The stuffing is coming out of the steering wheels. Half of them, the wheels cock this way just to go straight, and you're bouncing back and forth. I mean, I can't tell how many times I used to sit in the smoking section and literally see people just slamming into the back of other people because someone's car died. I think the Safari wins that one hands down.
That pathway that was behind there that you guys used to smoke at, that was one of my favorite pathways of all time. And I'd go through there even though I had to hold my breath when the smokers were there. And even though the gas from those cars was brutal, that was an awesome walkway. I hope something like that comes back. You know what it is? Because it was inside of a park, but it didn't feel like you were in Disney. You had quiet. A lot of it was quiet. There was a lot of tree cover. It was windy. So you really weren't next to people all the time. There was benches. And you looked into a forest, and right in front of the forest was the railroad track. Yeah. Now, I will say when the train left, that was loud because he just holds that horn. But yeah, the Safari is just
It's relaxing. I mean, don't get me wrong. You get bumped around. It's hot. It's, the seats are not comfortable, but being able to take in, people are like, is it really just a zoo? Well, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it is the zoo. But
it's a pretty amazing undertaking, though. If you look at the size and just set up on that thing, it's amazing. But that's one of those rides that we talked about before where it's a little long. So if I'm feeling a little panicky that day, that's one of those ones I kind of try to avoid.
Yeah, because imagine breaking. Well, I mean, if I don't mind breaking down on the car, though, there's no seatbelt.
I always think like if you got really sick, like you're 10 minutes in,
and you got a stomach ache.
Yeah, and then you got a solid 10 to 15 minutes before it ends, and then you're gonna get so upset at that driver every time she stops to show someone.
I don't care about the rhino. Keep it moving. Yeah, that's why you have to prepare yourself, Rudy.
Yeah, I guess.
You're getting old. All right. So here is our first oddity thrown in here in the West Division. We're gonna have the monorail versus Little Mermaids Under the Sea, and I think this is harder than you think it is.
No, actually, when I came across this, I was like, "Ooh, I love the monorail.
It's so gross.
It is gross at times.
And it breaks down. You want to talk about getting freaked out, breaking down?
Thank God, I have never been on a monorail that
broke down. How did they get you out of that?
I don't know. I'm jumping.
You ain't making it.
If you do that little duck and roll type thing,
no, right? You are not making it. That is too high up, sir. You cannot tuck and roll.
As much as I do like it, I'm still gonna go with Under the Sea. I do like the Little Mermaid. I'm a big softie.
Wow, so you're taking the monorail out in round 1.
Yeah, I gotta. People are fighting me on this.
Oh, you're gonna lose this one. I'm gonna go the monorail just because to be different. I think it's a great form of transportation. And I don't think it could beat the the way that people are basically freaking out right now. It might beat the Safari, but I'm gonna go with the monorail, and that will be our first one inside of the West Division that we disagree on. I know 110% we will be disagreeing on the next one. And it is also another oddity. Wilderness Lodge versus.
All right, hold on a second. When we're saying these hotels, are we going with the fact that you can eat there?
Anything. What? Just like the memories, anything that brings you to that hotel.
Oh, Wilderness Lodge.
But you don't like Carousel of Progress either, though.
I can't stand Carousel of Progress. It is the worst thing on the planet. I know about the historical value and blah blah. Walt's first. It's just a bore. The theater's awful, the show's awful, the music's awful. Gets stuck in your head. I'm going Wilderness Lodge.
It's used to be my ringtone for numerous years, and I understand that rides going up against hotels is almost a disadvantage because the hotels are so beautiful. These rides are older, but there was not enough rides, people. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not a fan of Wilderness Lodge. I was not a fan of my stay at Wilderness Lodge. I had a lot of issues with the hotel.
I can't see you staying at a deluxe hotel.
I usually only stay at deluxe.
Really?
That's
a waste of money.
Why?
For you. You don't belong there.
For me? Not. Come on. You were going to wear a tuxedo shirt to what is it? Victoria and Albert's, you creep.
We did a date night at Cali Grill, and they never had a dress code before, and they changed it. They actually have a dress code now, and I showed up with shorts, tank top, the whole. My wife and I look like a couple of beach bums, and that was a pretty embarrassing meal when we walked up there, and everybody was like, "Because I've been there before, I've been there quite a bit." But people were really dressed up that day for some reason, just making us look bad.
And I get people are saying it's unfair that these two are going up against each other, but I didn't know when I was making this list, what else was I supposed to put it up? Well, what else was I supposed to add? I added Disney transportation. I ran out of rides. The only thing I was going to do was go to food items, but I figured like restaurants. I was like, well, that's really unfair because I prefer food over a ride any day. You don't get to be this size and not want. But if I had said Carousel, or I'll take another ride. If I had said Flight of Passage versus Mickey Premium Ice Cream Bar, that becomes really hard because I want a Mickey Premium. You know what I mean? Casey's Corn Dog Nuggets. I didn't want to get specific. So that's why I went with simply I tried to go with resorts. We are going to disagree on back-to-back ones. Carousel of Progress is one of my favorite rides. Carousel of Progress, I have his t-shirt, I have a mug, and I had a really bad experience at Wilderness Lodge, so pretty simple. Unfortunately for your fans of Journey with Figment, that is up against the Contemporary.
See, I don't think that's tough. I think that's easily Contemporary because
I believe it is. I'm saying I feel bad for the Figment fans.
Yeah, because Figment needs a rehaul. The one the refurb they did wasn't as good as the original. So I mean, I'd be happy if they just got rid of that ride altogether.
Yeah, I would be perfectly fine with it. Am I a fan of the Contemporary? Would I stay there? No, but I believe they have one of the better character breakfasts with Chef Mickey, and I believe they have one of the best gift shops for oddity things inside of Disney. I mean, obviously, World of Disney, you can find anything you want. Take that out of the consideration. But I mean, their shop right next to Chef Mickey's. I mean, I got my sister's wedding present there. I found you can find, and they just opened up a pin trading store right next to it, and the pin trading, and there's a toy store connected to it. That's a very nice store. I mean, all the hotels have really nice little stores. Nothing offers like the Contemporary does.
I can't imagine staying there because it does have a very generic, sterile feel to it. But the restaurants and the lobby areas are very cool.
The Wave is a great restaurant. Very true, Mary. Really enjoyed my eating when I
underrated.
There. Very underrated. You could walk up and get a reservation there. No, I mean you could just literally walk up there. It's
ridiculous.
Is
sad because it's a really good restaurant.
You know what it is, but I feel like you could really walk up to most restaurants outside of a couple I could think of right off the top of my head. You can walk up to most restaurants inside of a hotel and walk right in.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, there's those few that.
Yeah, I don't think you can
walk up. Albert's.
Yeah, I don't think Victoria Albert's you can't walk up to. I think it'd be very tough to my God, what's the steakhouse at Yacht? The Yachtsman. I don't think you can walk up and have that one. But all right, I digress. We
actually got a family of the evening that we did the Yachtsman for the first time last trip, and when we showed up, they made us family of the evening.
What does that get you?
It gets you a little sign. They take a picture of you, like the photo pass with a little family of the night thing around you. They give you free champagne.
Oh, wow.
And free dessert. So it's kind of cool.
Oh, that's really cool. I did that every night?
I don't know.
I would assume,
I had never heard of this thing before. We kind of walked up. I think we were an earlier reservation. And I just wanted to knock it out of the way because I only got 2 or 3 restaurants left before I've done every restaurant.
Okay.
And that was one that I had wanted to do. We never got around to. So we did an early reservation. We showed up. They're like, hey, by the way, you're going to be family of the night. Like, okay.
Cool.
What's that get me? A free dinner? It did give me a free dinner.
That's what me and Lindsay want to do. Our goal was to stay at every resort and eat at every restaurant. The resorts, I mean, I don't really, I'm even at the point now I might start staying off site just because I have off a couple days in March coming up. And I was like, oh, maybe we'll shoot down there. I mean, flights were a little high, but I started looking at resorts. I mean, they're charging $350 for an All-Star.
Yeah.
And even said I started taking a peek at club level rooms for our honeymoon. What, $900 a night? And you're giving me snacks? Come on. Come on. $900 a night? I can go stay at a 4-star hotel off site and rent a car for that in a week.
I will say when we do those type of trips where we use a deluxe, we rent points because you really can't just
best deal. Disney. Best deal. I'll tell you what.
Even that's getting tough though.
Yeah, well, I mean, they keep raising their points, but even at $17 a point, we stayed when it was $15 a point. We stayed at Wilderness Lodge. We stayed 6 nights. I think I paid maybe $800.
Yeah.
When that should be 2 or 3 nights on their normal rate, Now, granted, you don't get the housekeeping and all that, but whatever. And I see Lindsay says, they give you free beer and wine. Also, listen, my mom, my sister, and my brother-in-law only stay club level when they go, and they rant and rave about. They make meals out of it. They'll go up there and they, And the nice thing is for kids, it's nice. Every night they were giving the kids a carafe of milk and cookies to bring back to the room and everything. And I hear you get a lot is great, and the beer and wine, okay, is great, but I'm not a beer or wine drinker. Lindsay is, so she can drink the wine, but I drink vodka. They're not giving me goose for free.
Yeah, give me a pina colada in there or something. I'm not gonna drink a beer or wine.
You know, like
I'm simple.
yeah. I mean, I'm not as simple as you, but
Nobody is.
just give me a bottle of goose and I'll be happy. I know it's a lot more than snacks, but it's not full meals. If you've stayed at a club level outside of Disney, you get way more at a club level outside of Disney than you do in Disney. And that's just simple. But I digress. That'll be a conversation for another time because I think we struck some chords with some people. The Grand Floridian versus Frozen.
That's a tough one because
Tough one.
the
I
Grand
don't like
Floridian.
the Grand.
When I walk in, it just feels like too uppity. Like I don't belong in the Grand Floridian. I'm just your simple northeastern. I mean, look at me.
Yeah,
I don't belong in the Grand
I get it.
Floridian. But I mean, it does have some of our favorite restaurants. I love Citricos. I love Narcosi.
I'm not a fan of Narcosi.
Oh, I love that view. It's so cool.
The view is
out on
great.
the
I just
water.
thought their food was very underrated, very overrated.
They had a good steak. That's all I care about.
Okay. Yeah.
But Frozen, and this is gonna make me sound a little girly. I love Frozen. Like I get on,
Olaf
get all
is really
giddy.
cool. I've never seen the movie. I'll admit to it,
What?
but I at least know the character. Yeah, I've never seen. I'm not a Disney movie person. How many times can we have this conversation?
All right, hold on a second. We do a Disney podcast.
I
At the
understand.
very least, you should watch that movie as research for the show.
I literally can hear my fiance downstairs clapping because she has been begging me to watch them.
Just do it. Stop trying to be the New Jersey tough guy. Sit down, put Frozen on. It's a good movie. You'll sing along.
No, listen, I know the songs. I know I somewhat know the characters. I actually think the Frozen sing-along inside Disney is a very underrated show.
Yeah,
it is very good. And there's a picture of me like catching bubbles in my mouth because I thought
the same way.
I'm like,
big dumb idiot. Yeah, you gotta watch Frozen. Just do me that. What do you got going on this weekend? Probably nothing.
I got a lot going on this weekend.
Sitting around picking like lint out of your belly button or so. Just watch Frozen. Do me that favor.
I mean, I'm not gonna watch it this weekend, but I will watch it. I promise.
All right, I'm gonna go with Frozen.
And Mary does admit. Mary knows she's been around. I just not a movie bro. You know what it is? Even when it comes to regular movies, I prefer regular TV over movies. Like me and Lindsay don't have a movie night. We have a TV night.
Yeah, but we have this podcast. I mean, there's stuff I literally do just for a podcast. Like if there's something I have no interest in, I'm like, I gotta at least check it out for the show so I can talk about it and know what I'm talking about. And then I got this guy next to me that doesn't watch any Disney movies. It doesn't watch Star Wars. I mean, at least do it for the show.
I'm not watching Star Wars. You can honestly forget that. I'll watch Frozen for my fiance's aspect, but I'm not no interest in Star Wars.
What went wrong in your childhood that you have no interest to watch Star Wars? I mean, as a guy, you need to watch Star Wars.
Because you know what? You want a hot take? You want everybody to stop listening to us right now? Here it is. I prefer playing sports than watching people fly in imaginary.
When's the last time you played a sport?
I play hockey still.
When
was the last time I played? I played a year ago. It has been a long time. I golf. Hey, I was a 4-sport athlete in high school. I was division. I went to college on a full ride to play.
And how long ago was that?
10 years ago.
Get over yourself and watch Star Wars.
I don't like it. I don't understand. There's too many things.
I played college level baseball for years. I stopped at 30, and now it's time to watch Star Wars. Get over yourself.
All right. So you went. Where'd you go? Frozen.
Definitely Frozen.
I don't know, man. I'm really torn.
That little spot where you go backwards and you see Elsa singing that song. It's so beautiful.
I prefer I don't know, but Grand Floridian is 1900 Park Fair.
There's Danny thinking with his stomach again.
Yeah, but the grounds are great. The hidden well, it's not really hidden, but if you don't know it's there, you've got the hidden Mary Poppins water fountain with the penguins.
It's beautiful. It's definitely a beautiful resort. All right, let me put it this way. If you took 10 trips in a row, are you going to hit Frozen all 10 trips?
No. But I'm also not going to hit Grand Floridian every 10 trips either, though.
I thought you would hit Frozen all 10 trips.
No, I don't. I don't hit it. I've only ridden it like twice.
Yeah, you're a monster. We can't do Disney together.
All right, I'll see you later. All right, you know what? I'm gonna go Grand Floridian. I'm gonna go against the grain because everybody keeps telling me to go Frozen, so I'm gonna go Grand Floridian. Uh yeah, just go. Steve, I agree. I just had to do it. I had to go for it. I had to jump. Carol understands. We love food behind the ears podcast. All right. Yeah. I'm happy with my choice. All right, moving on to the last one in the West Division. That'll be half of the first round. We'll be done after this. This one's a little bit tougher than I wanted it to be, but I think I know where it's going to go. We have Old Key West up against Soarin'.
To me, this is a no-brainer. I mean, Soarin', what are you going to do at Old Key West?
I think Old Key West, and me and Lindsay had this conversation the other day, if it wasn't so far away, it would be our go-to resort.
Yeah, but it is so far away.
I understand.
Nothing really there, so I mean...
Yeah, the ambiance. You know what I love? So we went out to breakfast there, whatever was that, Olivia's or whatever the breakfast joint is. I didn't think it was that good, honestly. But afterwards, we sat in hammocks and played volleyball. It was just a very low-key resort. People weren't running around.
Just agree with me like always.
I am. I hate the new Soarin', but I'm gonna go Soarin'. If that resort was closer, it would have been a no-brainer, but I'm going to follow you. All right, so to recap, the West Division, we have Cali River Rapids going up against Space Mountain in the second round. We have the Safari going up as the winner of the Monorail and Journey Under the Sea. That will be done through a vote. Also coming through a vote is Wilderness Lodge versus Carousel of Progress, and whichever one wins there will be going up against the Contemporary. And we have the Soarin' advancing, going up against the winner of Frozen and the Grand Floridian. We had a lot of disagreements on that one. We had 3 of them. That's a lot.
I would assume that everybody's going to go my way.
I believe. Let me see. So I believe Frozen will probably beat the Contemporary. I think Carousel of Progress might beat you out.
Oh God, no.
I do believe the Monorail is going to win compared to Under the Sea.
Really? That's
yeah. But I think you're going to beat me with Muppet. I think Peter Pan's going to beat Expedition Everest up in the East. I really don't know about the first one we disagreed on, Muppets versus Country Jamboree. I have no idea where anybody's going with that.
Well, that's a tough one because they're really pretty even. Like I could have went either way.
Yeah, so similar. All right, so moving on over to the South Division, we have Barnstormer versus Turtle Crush. So you sound tossed, so I'm gonna go with my answer first. I'm going Turtle Crush. I think it is hilarious. It's never the same thing anytime. I love how they can point people out in the crowd. And Barnstormer is just your typical kid roller coaster you can get at a carnival.
I haven't done Turtle Crush in a number of years. That's one of those things that depends on the cast member.
Very true.
I've seen some really amazing cast members that had that voice down perfect and were really funny.
Duds. You've seen some duds.
I've seen some real big duds. Barnstormer, I've gone on Barnstormer more lately than I've seen Turtle Crush. So I'm going to have to go Barnstormer.
Well, we're starting off the South with a disagreement, ladies and gentlemen. I think you're going to lose that one, but I understand if you go on it more. Now, this one is tough.
Uh-oh.
This one is tough because I haven't ridden one of them. But it's tough. Or now maybe I have ridden it. Oh, yes, I think I have. Yes, I have. Very tough here. Smuggler's Run versus Buzz Lightyear Space Spin.
Oh, that's...
I mean, I know where you're going.
You don't know where I'm going.
You're going Smuggler's Run.
Don't assume you know the dingus. Just relax.
You have Star Wars nothing but behind you, but Star Wars.
Yeah, but I like Buzz. I mean, I like the interaction. I like anything that's there's a score and there's competition. I'm all about competition.
Me too.
Boy, here's my issue with it. Is it with Smuggler's Run? It's tough because if you're a pilot, it's a much better ride. If you're going to be an engineer, it's awful. So if you get to pick your spot on Smuggler's Run, I'm going to say Smuggler's Run.
You can't.
If you're saying it's just generic and you're dropping in,
you could get any of the 3. It's just like a normal day.
I'm going to upset a lot of Star Wars fans here and probably lean towards Buzz.
Oh, stop my beating heart.
Well,
this show will continue. I am a happy man. Buzz is winning.
Well,
yes.
boy, this is making me angry because if you take in like the whole aspect of it, like the pre-show and the queue and all that stuff, I'm definitely leaning Smugglers. But if we're just talking the ride itself, and I get stuck as an engineer just slamming buttons for no reason, I
But
gotta go
that's
towards Buzz.
and I have to give you the option of that because it's not like you. I mean, sometimes can you walk up and convince a cast member, "Hey, we really want
Yeah,
to do the pilots."
you could actually just say, "I want to be a pilot," and they'll put you on a hold
Yeah,
until you are a pilot.
but I mean, it's up to you. I think Buzz is going to win out just because of the uncertainty.
It depresses me because Smuggler's Run is a really good ride, and it's got a lot of potential. The queue is amazing. I mean, to walk through that queue and see a full size Millennium Falcon there. I mean, if you're a Star Wars nerd like myself, I could sit there and just drool at the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah,
But
I know it was a fantastic ride.
yeah, I'm gonna still lean towards Buzz if we're just going the ride itself.
Okay, I you know what? I appreciate your honesty there and understanding. I like that. That was
Yeah, that's a tough one though. It kind of hurt me a little bit.
all right. But here's a softball one for you: Rise of the Resistance versus Tiki Room.
I'm gonna say right now, you could just put Rise to the beginning, to the number one spot, because that's gonna win it all. That ride is
You
the
think
greatest thing on the
Rise can
planet.
be Flight of Passage?
Oh yeah,
Wow.
I mean, I don't even think it's close. I think they're gonna crush Flights of Passage.
Wow. All right, so we know where Rudy's going. I am gonna take Rise here. I have not written it. I've ridden it. I have seen the videos, and let's be honest, Tiki Room is outplayed. I think it's cute for the first minute and a half, but then the clattering of the plastic of the beaks and the eyes drives me up a wall, and it's always so warm in there. And dark and like dingy. No.
Yeah,
Rise
that's
of the
not a
Resistance.
place I go to on a regular basis. It's like
No,
maybe every
no.
fifth trip or something.
Yeah, it's something. You know what it's got to be? There's got to be long lines everywhere, and I just want to sit down.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, here's one for you that you didn't see on the map before, but it's here. Star Tours versus Haunted Mansion.
Boy, I'm going to lean towards Haunted Mansion for a number of reasons. It's an old classic, so it's nostalgic. You could have built that ride today and opened it, and it would still seem kind of fresh. It doesn't seem like an old dated ride. And unfortunately, the Star Tours gets me sick sometimes. And you know what? Closing your eyes doesn't help because it shakes so
No.
violently, it almost makes it worse. So, as much as I do love Star Tours, I got to lean towards Haunted Mansion quite a bit.
Star Tours was a fantastic ride when it opened, but you hit it out of the park by saying Haunted Mansion doesn't skip a beat. You
No.
know, as the years go on, Star Tours, it just gets a little bit dingier inside. It just gets older. The technology is outdone. There's leaps and bounds past it. In Haunted Mansion, they were just so good for so long that now everything's catching up to it, and they still feel like a brand new ride. And they're continuing to add. Now you got the mirrors with the you take a picture with the ghost that's on you, and it's always interchanging. I think hands down, Haunted Mansion wins that.
Star Tours actually created the dumbest comment ever heard at Disney before. I brought my brother there. He's never been to Disney. He's 50. I want to say he's 51 if he's not, whatever. We brought him there for the first time this year. Loves Disney now. He's a big time fan. He got off of Star Tours and said, I think I like that better than Rise of Resistance.
Wow.
I read that. I was like, this guy's an idiot. Yeah, my brother.
Wow.
That's a dumb comment.
Even if the Dune buggies aren't facing the right way. Very true. Very true. That ride will be down for a little while as they try. Disney has taken a hit lately.
Yeah, it's like every day there's something going on over there. It's crazy.
It's getting wild over there. All right. Voyage of the Little Mermaid, which you said you enjoy.
I love it.
Little Mermaid. But another classic, Jungle Cruise.
Didn't we already have Little Mermaid in something?
That was the other Little Mermaid.
Oh, that was the show?
No, hold on.
Oh boy, here goes Danny with his screw ups already.
No, I'm trying to find it on the other side of the screen. We didn't agree on it, so it's not going to be hard to find. Oh, that was Under the Sea.
And what is this one? The show?
Yeah. No, this is the ride. That was the show. Wait, no. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Under the Sea is different than the Voyage. Under the Sea is the show.
All right, what was the first one?
Under the Sea is the show. That went up against Monorail, and you said Under the Sea.
Oh, I might have to switch back to Monorail then. You got me
Okay.
confused.
Okay, I will change to Monorail.
All right,
That
so
is
this
my apology. I shouldn't have put a show in here, but it's too late to go back and fix it. So, Voyage of the Little Mermaid is the ride.
and that's going up against what?
Jungle Cruise, and obviously all the boats will stay up.
I'm going Little Mermaid. That Jungle Cruise is so overrated.
Okay, hold on. Mess this up completely. Let's just stop and handle it now. Under the Sea is the ride. Voyage of the Little Mermaid is the show.
Hold on a second.
Okay,
So we're going back the other way. So the Monorail is going against the ride.
yes, and then
I'm sticking with Little Mermaid.
Perfect. This
Okay.
is the show. Voyage of the Little Mermaid is the show.
I'm still going the show over Jungle Cruise because I'm not a huge fan of the Jungle Cruise. I think those old jokes are corny. You've hit them a million times. The cast members are awesome, so don't start attacking me. The job they do is phenomenal. They're not phoning in like some of the people used to do over at the Great Movie Ride, which I'm glad is gone. But
What?
yeah,
Let's visit that for a second.
the Great Movie Ride was awful.
You are the
stop.
devil. You, sir, need to shut your mic off and go take a break, okay? You have too much liquor in that drink right now.
It was like a slow ride through a J.C. Penney model catalog. It was just brutal. It was so played out, and I've talked about it before. We went on one time. They had like a little old lady doing the cast member show where she did the whole spiel. She was so monotone and phoning this in. She's like, "Oh, look, there's cowboys coming." It was so bad at the end. So yeah, I can't wait to get on Mickey's Railway, and it will be 10 times better at least.
Hope you choke on a chicken bone later.
Sorry, it's true.
I mean, everybody is really hating you right now.
Yeah, what else is new? They all hate me.
But now they have the underside of water with boats sinking. Jungle Cruise, it is corny, but it is a classic. So unfortunately, me and you are going to disagree on it. This was my mistake by putting a show against it. You can argue that Carousel Progress and Hall of Presidents is also a show though too. So I don't feel as bad.
Now, with that thing sinking, and if you were on that boat, would you take that in stride? I mean, I would take that.
I'd be laughing. It's 3 feet of water. Now, the only thing I'd be grossed out about is how murky that water is.
The only reason why I'd want something is if I had to change my clothes, if I had to leave the parks. Give me a couple fast pass. I'm not going to flip out, though. That's a cool experience, though, sinking on the Jungle Cruise.
Hell yeah. I want new clothes because, at least new shoes. And I don't want Disney shoes. Like whatever got wet, I want new. I'm sorry, you cut me a check for it. As if I got to go take an Uber to the outlets, or you're going to give me a mini, I need to go get new sneakers. There's no shoes in Disney I want, unless you're going to send me to downtown Disney.
Come on, New Jersey, you're wearing Crocs all the time. You wear mini Crocs.
First of all, the Crocs that we wear around here don't look like Crocs, and I could show it to you.
Please don't. Don't do this. I don't want to.
This is my Croc. That doesn't look like a Croc.
By the way you dress, you would figure you were the 50-year-old guy and I was the 30-year-old guy.
Dude, I'm an old man. Are you kidding me?
Old man shoe ever. Come on.
Are you kidding me? I want like New Balance and high white socks. I'm bringing back.
Just brutal.
Yeah, I definitely would want new clothes, new shoes. Give me some fast passes.
But I'm not demanding. I mean, I'm not getting upset.
No, I'm going to get upset if you tell me I can't get new shoes. Then I'm going to be upset because I didn't get them wet on Cali River. I got them wet on your vehicle sinking. I mean, there's going to be lawsuits.
That water's brutal. That water's so
disgusting.
Bad. But yeah, that's an experience, like a cool experience. Like I was on a sunken. Yeah. And first of all, that thing's on a track, isn't it? How did it sink?
That is something I'm curious to really see what happens. But we have digressed completely. We did not agree on that one. So we'll move on to our next one. The Tower of Terror versus the Mad Tea Party.
Oh boy. I'm not a huge fan of Tower of Terror. Hold on a second before you get crazy.
So much.
Now, what I mean by that is it gets me a little loopy. Like I can appreciate the ride. Like the pre-show's awesome. The ride itself. listen, I'm old. Like if you asked me this when I was 20, I'd be like, oh, Tower of Terror for sure. But it does throw me off a little bit. But against the teacups, I still gotta go with Tower of Terror.
Yeah, you're talking about getting loopy on Tower of Terror. I mean, the teacups should turn you upside down.
But no, I don't spin them. Like when we go on, we do the teacups. They don't move. Like
you just go around.
Dude, you gotta see the death grip I put on that wheel when we're on that thing. It doesn't move.
Oh my god! The last time I was on it, Chris was filming, and I did everything in my power to see how fast I can spin it.
Oh,
it came to a point I thought it was gonna come off the tracks.
Probably came close.
All right, so Tower of Terror obviously is going to advance, and I say obviously, didn't think Rudy would have that hard. This one was tough for me. Moving on, this one was very tough for me. Dinosaur versus PhilharMagic.
I'm still gonna have to go with Dinosaur. I really love PhilharMagic. That's one show we watch every time we're there. But yeah, I gotta go with Dinosaur still though.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Dinosaur simply because it's a thrill factor. But I will say PhilharMagic is a tad underrated. It is a nice little show. I think it needs to be updated a little bit with newer technology. But I will have to agree with you on that one. So it looks like Dinosaur is going to advance. Next up, Tough to Be a Bug versus the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, Jesus. I love Tough to Be a Bug, but that's not even... Hold on.
Listen, you don't have to say hold on every time I have a complaint. There's going to be a lot of holding on.
The fact that it's going to go up against Pirates of the Caribbean is a little unfair. Obviously, it's Pirates, but Bug's Life is a good show. And I love having my rear end tickled during that show. Like at the end when that thing like tickles your butt.
Oh my god, I can't wait. I am clipping this moment in the show, and that's going into our new intro.
I lean back a little bit.
Oh man.
Sorry.
I hate the cue for Tough to Be a Bug. How they just corral you like cattle. You walk that stupid maze with all the rocks, and you're like, oh, great. I'm getting right on. And then you stand in that heat trap of a room. It makes you feel like you're in that anthill. No, thank you. That ride. The new sticker logo. That is fantastic. It's gonna be Pirates.
First of all, let me just say one thing quick before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of our listeners right now knows they love the butt tickle, so get over yourselves.
I can't wait to edit this show. Oh my goodness, this will be fantastic. Okay, so out of that division, that will close the South Division with one division remaining. We have a tie between Barnstormer and Turtle Crush, so that will be done to a vote. It will be going against the surprise winner of Buzz Lightyear Space Spin. Then we have Rise of the Resistance going against Haunted Mansion. We have another tie between Voyage of Little Mermaid, which is the show, versus Jungle Cruise. That will be going against Tower of Terror. And then our last bracket, we have Dinosaur going against Pirates of the Caribbean. We move on to the final division. Dun, dun, dun. And here's one that I was very torn on. What are you laughing about?
I'm just here for the butt. We gotta get new stickers of that.
I'm just here for the butt tickle. That is a t-shirt waiting to happen.
That's gotta happen.
Oh man. Okay. Next up, we have Primeval Whirl versus Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I can't fit on either of these rides. I can't fit on either of them.
You can actually, because
not comfortably, I should say.
No, not comfortably, but we squeezed three pretty fat dudes on that
Primeval
Whirl. It was the most ridiculous experience ever. You got to go with Seven Dwarfs Minecart, though.
Yeah, Primeval Whirl is literally a carnival ride. That is what it's supposed to be. But
you know what's funny though? We avoided that ride for years. I mean, years. And finally, I was like, I got to get every ride in. I'm one of those people that want to get every single experience in, just so I can talk about it. And I liked it. I still like it. We go on it almost every time we go there. It's enjoyable. Really? It's just going up against Mine Train's a little bit tough, though.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. So then once again, as you notice, the bottom two divisions were the ones where we ran out of things. So you're going to see a couple oddities coming thrown in here. Your first one comes up right here. Art of Animation versus Splash Mountain.
Splash Mountain. That's
Yeah.
literally used to be my favorite ride.
Yep. I do hate the fact that they added the lap bar to it, but I would say hands down, unless it was going up against a deluxe resort, I didn't think anything was really going to beat Splash right there. Okay, easy enough. Moving on to the next one, the Disney bus transportation. And this will include Disney buses and the Magical Express versus, and it's kind of funny how it plays out, versus the People Mover.
The People Mover, but I despise, and I've always clarified this within my group, is that the cast members do a hell of a job trying to, pack people in those buses and do their job. And I know they try to be on time and all that nonsense, but some of my worst experiences ever were at the end of the night, just wanting to get back to my resort, getting packed into that bus like a sausage and standing there. And I don't care, like, if it's only a 5-minute ride, it feels like an hour standing on one of those buses at night. So
your feet just kill you at that point.
It's literally one of the worst experiences you could have.
And the worst is they go to multiple resorts sometimes, and you're like, no.
Yeah, when we stayed at Caribbean Beach.
Caribbean Beach?
Yeah, when you're on the...
You mean Caribbean Beach?
Caribbean Beach. Pardon me and my nonsense. Shut up. If you've ever stayed there, it's got like 6 or 7 stops. And, at the beginning of the day, you're the first one to be picked up. But the other night, you're the last one. And boy, each one of those stops felt like water torture. It was so bad. And yeah, and I'm one of those guys that still, I know I'm a little older and I'm a little broken down, but I refuse to sit when there's like a woman or a child or an elderly person. So yeah, I'm always standing on those stupid buses.
Literally, me and Lindsay, we got on a bus. I'll sit down. Where like when we're standing in line, if I can tell there's a lot of people on the bus or people in front of us, I'll literally say to Lindsay, "Go on the bus, find a seat." Do that. I always walk to the exit and I stand right there. I have my same spot every time. All right. Next one is it's an interesting one. I think I kind of know where we're both going to go with this one, but it is Disney's Railroad versus PhotoPass.
Before we do that, my cousin just said that a driver made her chuck her ice cream.
This is your cousin?
Yes. Now, if you're sitting there and you've got a choice of waiting for the next bus or finishing your ice cream, what are you doing?
Finishing my ice cream. I'm just gonna eat it on the bus.
I'm finishing the ice cream. I'll wait for the next bus.
Yeah.
Or walk.
Yeah, walk. I'm not giving up my ice cream, especially the amount of money that you probably spent on that ice cream. It's not worth the free bus.
Yeah, don't throw that thing away. Eat that thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What was the next one?
It was PhotoPass versus Mickey's Railroad. Both offer very intriguing things. PhotoPass has come a long way. It's not just pictures anymore. There's a lot of intricate things they do with it. But you've got the nostalgia of the railroad.
Kind of killing me here on this one. I guess I'm gonna have to go with the railroad just because you can use your own phone and get your own experiences if you had to. But yeah, I love PhotoPass, and when we do the bro trips, we shame Barry into every ridiculous picture there is, and that's created like some of the best memories we've ever had. Is like getting his reaction. But yeah, I still have to go with what was the other one?
Mickey's Railroad.
It's Railroad. That's one, and it's funny because I love that. I guess you call it a ride.
Yeah.
It's so relaxing. Like if you just want to take a couple laps around, the way it kind of shakes and it's mellow. I love that ride. It kind of helps me out. That's down.
I love the PhotoPass option. I love all the things they give you. And yes, could you use your own phone? Yeah, but there's they're professionals compared to what we are. I will say though, I had to go with the railroad simply because of what you said in the beginning of the show. If I've got 5 minutes left in the park, what am I doing? Am I going to a PhotoPass spot or am I going to ride that? And I'm going to go ride that because I just think there is something, it's going to sound corny, something magical about riding the railroad.
Railroad's pretty awesome. I mean, I'm not like a big dork with trains. Like I'm not one of those people who just have to ride a train. But yeah, it's a pretty awesome experience. But what is your feeling on the photo boxes?
I think if in the right spot, they'll be good. I like the one that can zoom in inside Star Wars.
Yeah, that one's cool. I'm talking about the box that's like at the character meets.
You know what? I've never seen one.
They're terrible.
Are they bad pictures?
Yeah, I mean, it randomly takes pictures, so it misses, like, if you got a little kid that's getting a hug by Mickey,
Okay. Mhm.
that's not a guarantee you're going to get that picture.
Okay.
Just hire back the CMs. It doesn't cost that much to have CMs. Or get rid of those boxes.
I agree. I agree completely on that one. Here's an interesting one. We have the Grand Fiesta Tour over in Mexico versus Poly.
Oh, that is a tough one because Polly's got my Lapu Lapus.
Lindsay loves those. I'm going hands down Poly. I love the Grand Fiesta Tour. I try to ride it every time I'm there. I think it's just cute. It's smooth. It's nice. At the same time, once again, thinking of the overall attributes of everything, I just enjoy Poly that much more.
I'm going to go with the Grand Fiesta, and people are going to fight me on it. I see a lot of people saying Poly already. We don't do Poly a lot.
Okay.
We probably should because we do enjoy it. But I do make sure I do the Grand Fiesta at least every time we're there. Sorry, Lapu Lapu.
This is one where I might fight you if you don't go with what I want. All-Star Resorts versus Living with the Land.
What are you fighting about? Either one of those I could get rid of.
No, you can't get rid of Living with the Land, okay?
Living
with the Land is a wonderful ride. It's so underrated. It's unfair.
I will say I do have to go with Living with the Land only because of who it's going up against. But I could kill off Living with the Land against 90% of these rides that have been on here.
Oh boy. Well, I mean,
how many times you got to learn about like cotton and
you get to see all the beautiful flowers they're creating, the vegetables, you see the scientists, all the fishies, and you eat that food.
No, I don't eat fish.
You sure? What?
Unless there's a cow wandering around in there. I don't want to eat Living with the Land.
We're gonna bring you outside. Okay, this is pretty easy for me, but Disney boats transportation, so ferries, smaller boats, charter boats, whatever the case is, not the Grand One yacht because that's just unrealistic, versus Mission Space.
Boat transportation. I hate Mission Space.
I hate Mission Space as well. Boat transportation is the way. I honestly think, and I've said this before numerous times, boat transportation is one of the best transportation system Disney has to offer.
I love not only the ferry. I'll usually take the ferry over the monorail because I love that slow ride into Magic Kingdom when you're looking at the castle and stuff. But I actually really enjoy that boat ride going to like the Grand Floridian or the Poly.
Great. Yeah.
That's pretty chill. It's pretty awesome ride. So yeah, definitely the water ride.
Perfect. And last but not least, Spaceship Earth versus the French Quarters.
Spaceship Earth.
I would agree. Even though it needed the major update, and I'm glad it's getting it. We've talked about on the show how amazing that update gets. And I do love the French Quarters. I think it is a beautiful hotel. I am a huge moderate fan over the deluxes. I love the moderates.
Got good food there too.
Yeah, but Spaceship Earth is just it's an amazing ride.
Yeah, that's one of those like I don't know if you say classics, but it's one of those.
I would say it's a classic.
Yeah, when you go into Epcot, you're riding Spaceship Earth at some point, whether it be first thing when you get there, but at some point you're gonna go on that ride.
The funny thing is we were talking about last 5 minutes. I always ride Spaceship Earth on the way out. Never fails. Always on the way out,
especially if it's at night, because it's gonna be like a walk on.
Yeah, it should be. Well, I hate when that's on. I'm like, what are you guys people doing here? All right, so in the final Midwest division, we have Seven Dwarfs Mine Train going up against Splash Mountain. We've got the People Mover going against the Railroad. We have a toss-up that will be done to vote between Poly and the Grand Fiesta Tour. That will be going up against Living with the Land. And finally, we have the Boat versus Spaceship Earth. And that will conclude round 1.
You know what's killing me about this whole thing? That Haunted Mansion's going up against Rise of the Resistance in the second round.
Yeah.
That like just when you mention it, I'm like, oh, are you kidding me?
All right, so let's take a look. We'll go through it real quick. We'll take a look and let's see what's really going to be tough. Test Track going against Thunder Mountain. The winner of either Muppets or Country Jamboree going against Rock and Roller Coaster. This one could be tough. Slinky going against Toy Story Mania. That's interesting. Flight of Passage versus either Expedition Everest or Peter Pan. Depending on that could be pretty interesting. But I think we know where it's going. Cali River Rapids going against Space Mountain. The Safaris going up against either Under the Sea or the Monorail, and that is the ride Under the Sea. Wilderness Lodge or Carousel of Progress is going up against the Contemporary, so we could possibly see a hotel versus a hotel here. The Grand Floridian versus Frozen, whichever one comes out of a poll, goes up against Soarin', which I think is a pretty tough aspect. Once again, Spaceship Earth versus the Boat. Living with the Land going up against either Poly or Grand Fiesta Tour. That could be interesting. The Railroad versus People Mover. Very interesting.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one. Dwarfs, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train versus Splash. Very interesting. Dinosaur versus Pirates. Very interesting. Tower of Terror either going against the Voyage of the Little Mermaid or Jungle Cruise, whichever one wins out in the vote. We have Barnstormer, Turtle Crush, whichever one wins in the vote goes against Buzz Lightyear. Very interesting. And like you said, Rise of the Resistance versus Haunted Mansion. And I'll tell you right now, that one's going to a vote because I've never been on Rise of the Resistance.
Boy, that is tough because Haunted Mansion is literally one of those rides where I've got a handful of rides where if they're closed down when I'm on vacation, I feel like I wasted that vacation. Splash Mountain, Haunted Mansion, Pirates, those type of old school rides that are still real high quality, but still have that big nostalgia factor. But Rise of the Resistance is such an amazing ride that I'd still pick it over Haunted Mansion. It kills me to say it because I don't want to see Haunted Mansion go in the second round.
I know that's an early exit for Haunted Mansion. Unfortunately, it's just the way the cookie crumbles in this aspect. All right. Well, next Wednesday we will be doing round 2 of our 2020 Disney March Madness. If you want to check out the updated version of the bracket, I'll put that out there. It'll be pinned to the top of the Behind the Ears podcast page, the WDW community Facebook page, and the Crazy for Disney Facebook page. We're going to start putting the polls out, so we're going to do only 24-hour polls. So once the 24 hours expires, we'll just update it right then and there, and we'll obviously give you guys a full recap next week. With that being said, don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. Once again, Rudy runs the Crazy for Disney page. I run the WDW community Facebook page, or you can simply follow us on Behind the Ears podcast page. Don't forget to check out our Instagram and Twitter. Twitter is Behind the Ears PC. And our Instagram is Behind the Ears Podcast. Any listener questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to email us at behindtheearspodcast@gmail.com. With that being said, that is all I have for you guys. I hope you all have a safe and wonderful rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you next Wednesday.
Before we go, I'd like to mention our official TA, Kingdom Destinations. If you guys are planning a trip, and we all know what a pain in the rear end is to plan a trip between advanced dining reservations, fast passes, setting an itinerary. These guys are a gold status authorized Disney planner. They treat us like gold. Check them out. Kingdom Destinations.
Yeah, by next Wednesday, we will have a little banner for them and a little intro for them. I will be working on that this weekend. Yeah, so that's it for us, guys. Have a great time. Thanks for tuning in and sharing out. And stay tuned to watch the Crazy for Disney page to find out who won the Monorail popcorn bucket. Have a great one.
No,
not Monorail. Skyliner
and the Simba popcorn bucket.
Oh, we're doing both of them.
We're doing both.
Oh, this is news to me.
So tomorrow night we're gonna have 2 big winners. Hopefully they'll be happy.
This is why you don't let me announce things. I have no idea.
You have no clue.
This is your fault. All right, guys. Have a good night.
Bye, guys.